everybody, I'm Brittany Lewis, a breaking news reporter here at Forbes. Joining me now is New York City Councilmember Vicki Paladino. Councilmember, thank you so much for joining me again.
Thank you for having me on. Pleasure to be here.
Pleasure to speak with you. It's been a huge couple of weeks for New York City. Mayor Eric Adams has been indicted on 5 federal charges involving campaign finance, bribery, and conspiracy for allegedly accepting illegal campaign donations from the Turkish government. You hear that, what's your reaction?
Well, at first, to be very honest with you, I was really unhappy. It makes me, there's no more shock and awe anymore pertaining to any form of any politician getting indicted for what is real or what is not real. So I am on the mindset of I'm sad for the city. I'm upset for the mayor. I was surprised, but yet not, because they keep a file on everybody. When you get to a certain level, I believe in today's world, sadly, that if you step out of line, they just open up a file drawer and then they just keep a file on you and they go back, because some of these charges go back to 2016. So innocent until proven guilty is my stance on this.
Innocent until proven guilty. You think he deserves due process, his day in court. But I've had the privilege to speak with multiple council members. A Republican, your colleague, Councilmember Ariola, she agrees with you. She doesn't think he should resign. However, I spoke with Councilmember Capon yesterday. She thinks he should resign. You're laughing. What do you think? Tell me about it.
Oh, I think it's hysterical. Because first of all, here you have two sides of the coin. Now, I am of the philosophy of careful what you wish for, because notice who's banging the drum for Eric Adams to step down. City council members and others like herself, who are so far left and has driven the city into the ground. They hate Mayor Adams. They have hated Mayor Adams for the 2 years and 10 months that I've been in office. And I've listened to it. It's been blatant. And anytime he's tried to move to the middle, because look, this guy is progressive, slightly to the right sometimes, slightly to the left sometimes, but not left enough. So when you see these maniacs, and I'm going to call them maniacs, because what they have done to this city is really a shame. And now they want him to step away. They think he should resign. All of a sudden they're standing on them high moral horses. No. Tiffany Caban she's actually out of control, because everybody sees. It's like when you feed a shark red meat, right? What happens? They just come back for more and more and more. It's a feeding frenzy on Mayor Eric Adams right now.
So let's take the indictment out of it for 1 second. You're a Republican. I've talked with you for now over a year about different issues facing New York City. And one thing really shines through. You deeply care about the city of New York. You deeply care about Queens, your district. What do you think of Mayor Eric Adams?
I think Mayor, as far as we go here, and I go on a personal level, we may disagree on policy after policy. But I will say this in Mayor Adams' defense, that when it comes to conversation and his staff being open to, we have the migrant crisis going, we have migrant shelters opening, and you know how I feel about all of that. But they picked up the phone. I called them, they answered on the first ring. So whenever it came to anything to do with me, my district, he has been more than open-minded. Okay, so these other people have an axe to grind with him on every level of government. Every level of government. We had, here's something that just happened recently. Randy Mastro came in, and he was going to be the chief of, what he did for Giuliani. As far as law goes. Now, you couldn't get anybody more middle of the road Democrat than Randy Mastro. They put Randy Mastro, by they, I mean the Committee on Public Safety and all of them. They came in with binders. They weren't even born yet in 2001. And what they chose out of Randy Mastro's opening statement, all his years of experience, one of the top attorneys in the United States of America, how he was going to be bipartisan. He went out of his way to meet with every council member, and they just chewed him up and spit him out 11 hours worth. 11 hours worth. And all they did was prosecute him for working with and for Giuliani's administration. So I've got people behind me on the dais who weren't even born yet or were 6 and 7 years old talking about Giuliani's administration, probably the best administration that we've had in my lifetime. And they were ripping into him. So anything the mayor tried to do that was middle of the road to help both sides out, they would kibosh. So Tiffany, this doesn't surprise me at all. She's anti-law. She's horrible.
She did say she read the 57-page indictment and called it, she said, as a former public defender, it looks like a very damning case of quid pro quo. Those text messages in there are pretty damning. The indictment does read as quid pro quo. Did you read the indictment, and what do you think of that?
I did not read it, no. I can't really talk too much to it. I did several other shows, and I will say this, that in my opinion, let the courts play it out, let the people hear it, and let us decide, let the courts decide which way it's going to go. When you look at things on the grand scheme, I don't think there's much in it. But we got to come back to the original conversation about how the left wants him out. The left wants him out. Who steps in should he resign, which I really hope he doesn't do? It's Jumaane Williams. And so that guy comes with,
Talk about the public advocate, Jumaane Williams. He would be in for an interim period. Let's say Mayor Eric Adams resigned today. He would immediately step in, and then there would be a special election in less than 100 days. If that happens, what do you think?
Disaster. The city will die. Because this is a man who is so off the charts left. He would destroy New York City. Everybody's talking about the same thing. And as much as Jumaane might be a really nice guy to say hello and have a conversation with, he's one of these people. I want to read a note that I have here that he wants the federal government to take over Rikers Island. He wants the feds. Now, he will have until November, should he be allowed to step in as interim mayor. And he will have the ability to say yes to the federal government taking over Rikers Island. That's a huge thing. We've got so many, nobody's a criminal, in New York. Everybody needs social counseling. Some woman could have just got stabbed 50 times. The person who did that stabbing, in Jumaane's mind's eye, they need social work. They need to be helped. They don't need a prison cell. No. So he is that far to the left. He hates cops. He would disband I could honestly see him, if God forbid, he's longer than 90 days in, starting to do things to the police department that has already been botched and butchered. Dismantle them, possibly. He doesn't believe in any of this. And law and order doesn't exist in Jumaane's mind. And I think that's one of the biggest detrimental things about Jumaane Williams. So
you're in the same boat as your colleague, Councilmember Joanne Ariola. There are only a handful of Republicans in the New York City Council. What have your conversations with your colleagues looked like, both Republicans and Democrats, about Mayor Eric Adams, about the investigations and the indictment?
I think, well, we know where the Republicans sit. He needs to, for the sake of the city, this man needs to stay where he is. He should not leave office. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Let the courts play out. Let's come into next year. And if you notice, yesterday, he wants this, Adams, he wants to speed it up because he wants to come into the, exonerated into a June primary. That's how much he believes in his innocence. So when you have other, more normal-minded Democrats, middle-of-the-road Democrats, I tell you, it's a tough thing for me to judge because they're being told by powers higher than they because somebody doesn't want to step out of the box and actually say how she may be feeling. So she sends out her minions to deliver the message of resign, resign, resign. And they obey. This is a kangaroo. This is a banana republic, I'm telling you.
Who are you talking about?
I'm not going to say.
Interesting. Okay. But as we know,
people who are watching this may know exactly who I'm talking about, and that's okay.
Are you talking about a member of Congress?
No. Inside city government.
Okay.
Inside of city government. Because, we have Hochul, too, upstate. Mm-hmm. Now, this is big. Hochul is right now circling New York City. She's all of a sudden making her presence known. She is telling the Adams administration, she's telling Mayor Eric Adams that she wants him to get rid of who's ever in, close to him. That the state will come in. Really? The state's going to come in now again? The state's going to come in and the state's going to tell you who you should have on your staff? Governor Hochul's been a huge problem to this state. And when the mayor has stepped out of his box, and when the mayor has called on Biden about the migrants, how it's unsustainable. When I spoke out, like I've done on your show and others, about Hochul giving us a hand down here with the migrants, take some of them upstate. Oh, no. Now she's down here, and now she thinks she's going to dictate down here what we should be doing with our city government. Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
I can hear how frustrated you are with the governor. She does have the power to oust the mayor if she so chooses. Do you think, based on what you're hearing, what you're seeing, it's going to come to that?
I would like to say no. Mm-hmm. However, because she knows what a special election, she knows what Jumaane Williams will bring. These are uncharted waters. We've never had a mayor indicted out of 111 mayors. We've never had that. A governor has never had to do this. So this is a very vague thing. There's a lot of strings attached to how she would go about it. It's not a stroke of a pen. Like she could get rid of Alvin Bragg with a stroke of a pen. She could bring in ICE with a stroke of a pen. And she does not. Now, that's another thing. When Adams talked about bringing in, Eric Adams talked about bringing ICE into the city so that this way they can go to Rikers because we have so much migrant crime going on in the city. 75% migrant is up. It's all caused by migrants. So we've got such a huge increase in crime by migrants. Now, not to mention the expense of migrants. Everything. As soon as he stepped out of his box, or the box they like to keep you in, all of a sudden, we're getting indicted by the feds. He's getting indicted by the feds. So it's very dicey what we're dealing with here. It's very, very dicey.
So what you're saying is that the timing is suspect, essentially.
Oh, yeah. I think so.
I do want to talk about the future here. Let's say Adams does run again. There are a few names being floated out in the primaries if he stays in, which he says he's intending to do. You're not a fan of Jumaane Williams. What about former Governor Cuomo? His name has been floated. Another laugh, another laugh. Let's get into it because his former top staffer, Melissa DeRosa, was on my show when there were investigations swirling around Adams. She said it wasn't her place to say whether he resigned, but her phone was ringing off the hook. She said that people telling her, Cuomo needs to run, Cuomo needs to run. What do you think?
Cuomo going through Cuomo for as long as I know him. I don't know him. I know him as my governor. He believes he's emperor and supreme ruler. And we saw that during COVID. Nothing was more clear than during the COVID crisis. You know, he woke up one April morning and crowned himself king. I think he's got a tremendous ego problem. However, with that being said, when you look at the other people that are going to be up and running for mayor, Brad Lander, oh my God, no. Mark Levin, Nellie, whatever her name is, I don't even know. No way. So he would actually seem more moderate, more pro-cop, and maybe be able to get a hold on things here in the city. I'm not happy. I'm not happy with any of my choices. Cuomo, for what he did to us during 2020, 2021, I mean, they just tossed out all the nursing home murders, all those elderly that were killed in the nursing home. That lawsuit went right out the window. Just happened 2 days ago. So how do I feel about Cuomo? Maybe if I'm looking at a bowl of rotten apples, maybe he's the better of the rotten apples, honestly, because this is a disaster.
Well, in your ideal world, who do you think would be the best pick? Because let's be realistic for a second. Do you think that there would be a Republican to be a mayor? You don't. You're shaking your head no. So who do you think would be the best choice? I asked Congresswoman Nicole Malliotakis if she was planning to run, because she did run in 2017. She said no. So who would be your choice?
I don't really have a choice right now. I don't. And I have to say that plainly and clearly. I will support any Republican that does have the guts to come out and do this. You have to understand, you know, the very sad part about New York is that a lot of people have given up on local races, the state. And our candidates don't get the funding that they need. When you go up against the Democratic machine, that's exactly what it is. It's a machine. It's media, print, computer, you know, online, as well as your regular news shows. You don't have a shot in hell, and they own it. I mean, we see what's going on with Trump, okay? Harris's campaign is completely media-driven. This is what will happen again, and they will throw 60, 80 million dollars, $100 million into this race, should it go to a real election. A special election is going to be the Wild Wild West. Everybody's going to come out. And you don't need much to run because it's only 6 weeks. It's done overnight. The requirements that are necessary for a regular run, you know, to get petition to get on a ballot, to raise money. These people are just going to go in there. And I don't know what we're going to end up with. I mean, we got Joe Borelli, who he's our minority leader. We got Curtis Sliwa, who is a man of the people. We've got, you know, I'm going to throw Bob Holden's name out there, although he'll probably shoot me after he sees this. But we do have Bob Holden. And, you know, we do have some real steady, you know, Republicans who could do this job and do it well. And the whole thing is the party, and will the party put into what it needs to do in order to get a Republican mayor actually elected to the city of New York? Will they do it?
Do you think they will?
At this point in time, no, I do not.
What do you think's next? Because it feels like we're almost at a bit of a stalemate here. The indictment came out last week. Mayor Adams pleaded not guilty. He said he's not resigning. City council members seem to be divided on whether he should resign or not. What are you doing next as a city council member?
Concentrating on building back. I want my people in my districts, my constituents, to feel safe. I want the people of the city of New York to feel safe. I want my commissioners to do their jobs. The world is carrying on. We do have DOT, we do have DDC, we do have our parks, we do have everything. All our agencies cannot miss a beat. This is New York City. This is the greatest city in the world. And what we need to do is not sidetrack this. This has got to stay focused. And as a city councilwoman, this is what I do. And this is what I do best. I do best in my communication. I do best in getting the jobs done that need to get done, being the voice of my constituents, as well now as being given the gift of media. So many shows have asked me to be on, and I'm really grateful to you for today. And I really feel that at this point in time, New York, we are still the best city in the world. We have survived many things. This perhaps is the most bizarre thing in my lifetime that I've seen, because it's become a banana republic. And if there's one thing I can't stand, is anything that's third world country related. And this is what we're turning into. When one party dictates to the people the way it should be. No, this is not how the city works. So I will fight like hell to make sure that that doesn't happen.
Well, as the situation develops, which I'm sure it will do, I hope you come back on and join me, break it down, share your commentary.
Anytime.
Councilwoman, thank you so much for joining me. I appreciate our conversation per usual.
Thank you very much. It was fun to be here. Thank you.